Hi guys, Catmaster here. I just quickly wanted to show you a little bit about my build that I've been playing to level 87 in the last couple of days. It is a Stormbrand Hierophant. Hierophant because Hierophant has the brand synergy, and I just wanted to see how good brands could still be after they received a little bit of an adjustment in the patch 3.7. Which, you know, looking at the adjustment, at face value it seemed to be a nerf to the clear and a buff for single target, but at the same time GDG brought up the life of rare monsters and of magic monsters. So I really wanted to reevaluate how does it feel to level as brand, how do brands feel in endgame. And we picked Hierophant for that. I was leveling with, you know, just the basic stuff. I was using one axiom and one supreme truth because I didn't have two axioms, and I also didn't have a tabula for the longest time of the leveling process. I did, however, find two Call of the Brotherhood and decided to go 80% cold conversion, which was mainly because I found this staff, which had the tempo prefix Takatis for 108, in this case, % increased spell damage and 5% non-chaos as extra chaos damage. Now, for those of you who don't know the scaling in this game all in and out, quickly want to explain that there is a conversion direction. You can convert physical to lightning, to cold, to fire, to chaos, and you cannot convert the other way around. But a mod like 5% of non-chaos damage as extra chaos damage will dip into every single conversion stage, meaning that from all of my lightning damage from the Stormbrand, all of the lightning base damage, I get 5% of non-chaos as extra chaos. And then all of that gets through the 80% cold conversion, and I get another 5% of that. And then if I was to convert further to cold, I'd get another 5% of the cold, and so on. Well, not after that, because you can only convert to chaos after fire, but you get the idea. So I felt this staff is a particularly powerful drop. In general, the Legion drops are insane. You get all the League exclusive stuff, and you get a lot of good temple loot. The amount of chest pieces that I had with increased max life and flat life hybrid is insane. Really, really good. Really cool to work with. There is a new divination card that is called Vanity that has the same stack size as the regular tabula rasa card, but it will grant you a corrupted tabula rasa, meaning you cannot get a bricked tabula, right? You can only get a corrupted, and it's also guaranteed with a corrupt implicit, similar to the card that grants you a corrupted pair of Calm's Roots. Long story short, lightning to cold, because I also like shattering, right? I also like proliferation. They took away proliferation from elementalists, so there is no reason to go elementalist anymore if you want to freeze and shatter entire packs, because on every class you'll have to use the elemental proliferation gem now. And we're doing that in this tabula that I farmed from the vanity card set. 50% increased damage is what we got. You can easily farm those vanity cards in corrupted side areas, and if you don't know, you can use the sacrifice fragments that you drop from the corrupted side areas as a way to open up side areas in your map device, which will then give you back fragments, or have the potential to give you back. You're not guaranteed to get a fragment back, but you'll be able to sustain running side zones for quite a long time via your map device with just a handful of sack pieces, because you can get several ones back, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, it was a fun experiment to farm those, and the build performed really okay. I wouldn't want to say super good, because Hierophant is sadly on the lower spectrum of damage, because all you get is the brand synergy in Sign of Purpose, which is really good. It is 20% more damage on enemies, because enemies take 10% increased damage for each of your brands attached to them, and it massively buffs the cooldown recovery speed on Brand Recall. Brand Recall is really good, because the first time that you recall, your brands, they have a huge increased attachment range, which means they can attach somewhere like half the screen away. You just recall them and they attach to packs all around you, which is really good. And at the same time, it prompts their activation, right? You detach them from enemies when you recall them, and then you cause them to activate. This build has up to 6 brands in total. And yeah, it's just in general was feeling really good for the clear. With Legions, I felt that despite the fact that the idea is great, and with a large attachment range, the brands are supposed to, you know, kill or destroy the Legion shells and then move on and attach to the next one and go through the entire thing. I felt that between the rows of the Legion, there was too much distance for it to really go through the entire thing like ED Contagion does. But I had high hopes that it was the ED Contagion killer, or at least a strong competitor, but it wasn't. No, it was okay, it was good for Legions, but it did require a lot of footwork and a lot of, you know, going back and forth and finding the key packs, the most important things, right? Quickly going over my skill setup. Like I said, Elemental Proliferation, using Energy Shield Leech, because as a Hierophant I gain a non-significant amount of Energy Shield from my mana. 30% of max mana as extra Energy Shield. And yeah, the Energy Shield Leech is just, you know, not a bad more multiplier. It's a little bit less more than you could get from another one. But I was like, okay, this helps also my defense, and it's most of the time 37% more, right? I'm using Chain. Chain is incredibly valuable on Stormbrand. You need to use Chain, otherwise you'll have a problem with the AoE coverage. Chain makes it really good, and it also evens out the damage. The problem with Chain is that in single target situations, or not true single target, but in situations with 2 or 3 very tanky enemies, that you just reduce your damage, and one enemy cannot be affected by 2 chains from brands, or like 2 arcs that come from different brands from other enemies. That was a change that they introduced in the patch. There is no shotgunning between brands anymore. And yeah, that makes the single target a little bit problematic, but in order to help out with the single target, we were using Lightning Spire Trap, which has not seen any changes, and I feel Lightning Spire Trap is actually, in my opinion, one of the biggest culprits why Stormbrand and Winter Orb were so strong early on, because Lightning Spire Trap just gives you a lot of damage and gives you the potential to cheese bosses. You can literally just throw out your 3 Spire Traps, zone out of a boss, and zone back in, and you have 3 Spire Traps up again. That's why my suggestion to fixing it was turning it into a Val skill, so you wouldn't be able to use it and refill it just by portaling in and out. But, you know, that's just my opinion. A lot of people told me that they don't think that Lightning Spire Trap is all that problematic. I think it trivializes the game to an extent that it shouldn't, but that's just my opinion, right? Recently we were itemizing around mana, and you can already see it, I'm building it up. We're going to the core issue of the build that ultimately led to its demise. Itemizing for mana, because with Divine Guidance from the Hierophant, we had 10% damage taken from mana before life, and we had Mind over Matter 30%. So 40% of damage were taken from mana before life, which means that if I was hit for 2,500 life, then 40% of that, meaning 1,000, would be taken from my mana, and I'd be out of mana. Now, most of the time this did not matter, because my mana regen was actually 240 per second. I was running a 4-link Herald of Ice to help out with the clear and shatter, right? Standard setup, Ice Bite, Onslaught, and Innovate to grant as much buff as possible, while also gaining some sort of damage for the Herald of Ice itself, so that it could chain through packs. And we're using Clarity to help out with the mana, because I was afraid of the situation where I was going to use a movement skill and would not be able to get out because I was drained of all my mana, which ironically ultimately happened. But I was having a lot of fun. I was using Flame Dash linked with Arcane Surge, despite the fact that on full Energy Shield I don't pay anything for my mana cost because of Century of Thought. You get 100% reduced mana cost of skills while on full Energy Shield, 50 always, 50 on full Energy Shield, so for a total of 100. But when you take a little bit of damage, you still have half mana cost. Meaning I could still get Arcane Surge with Flame Dash in an average farming situation, but not just right out of the box, right? And we're using Charged Dash, which is actually an amazing skill. As you can see, it has all these clones on the way that hit, and despite the fact that my hit chance is quite pitiful as a caster, 65 chance to hit with 599 main hand accuracy, I had like 1 or 2 situations where I dashed along or into a pack and did not get Fortify. Charge Dash is incredible for getting Fortify on a caster, and it's, you know, very convenient because you can just charge it very shortly, right? You can still Flame Dash and just do like a tiny Charge Dash just to get Fortify. And, you know, naturally, just how Charge Dash works and how many times it strikes, you're pretty much guaranteed to get Fortify. I mean, I'm sure you've had that situation where you played Shield Charge or something like that, and you just didn't get Fortify because you never hit, or Leap Slam in a caster build. Anyway, that's what I quickly wanted to show you, was itemizing for mana to prevent this, but ultimately, if you look at the RIP clip here, I was running a poison map, pretty bad idea, and on top of the poison we also had 40% less recovery. As you can see, I get hit by the beast, I get poisoned, my mana is gone, I can't dash away, I get hit again, I die. And that's why ultimately I think Mind Over Matter is bad if you don't fully itemize around it. So, pretty meh. I had fun with the character. We're running a new one and you'll get a new video about the new build tomorrow. I thank you for watching. If you want to check out my live content, I'm live on twitch.tv/CatmasterOP, and I wish you a wonderful day.